Slide is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
What is written in the slide?
Fetal circulation.
Yes. Now we are going to start now. Okay, fetal circulation. So fetal circulation means when the fetus is present inside the mother's womb, then there is a connection of the fetus blood circulation with the mother. So that circulation between the mother and the fetus, that is known as fetal circulation. As we know, the fetus is surrounded by the fetal membranes. The fetal membranes there are 4 fetal membranes. They are allantois, chorion, amnion, and yolk sac. Now, part of this fetal membrane are connected with the maternal structure, and the connection is known as placenta. So, placenta is the structure which connects mother to the fetus. It involves 2 components. One is from the maternal side, another from the fetal side. Mainly the chorion of the fetus is interposed, or it go inside of this endometrium of the uterine horn, and connection occurs. Now in this photograph you see, this is the placenta. This is the placenta. This is the placenta, and in the placenta, the exchange of gases takes place. In the adult individual, the exchange of gases takes place in the lungs, but in the fetus, it occurs in the placenta, not in the lungs, because lungs will develop very late. Lungs will not develop at the beginning part. So exchange of gases required to be happen in the placenta. Number 2, in the fetal circulation, the fetus requires nutrition. So in the adult, what we used to take food, and food is digested in the stomach and intestine. And that food will give the nutrients to the adult individual. But in case of fetus, the fetus will get the nutrition from the mother. That means the pre-digested food that is taken by the mother, the nutrition will go from the mother to the fetus. That means fetal stomach is not working at that time. So the fetus will get the nutrition from the pre-digested food getting from the mother. So there are 2 differences in the fetal circulation. Number 1, exchange of gases takes place in the placenta. Number 2, fetus will get the nutrition from the pre-digested food from the mother. Clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Now you see, I'm going with this diagram. Now this is the placenta. Now the impure blood will carries by these umbilical arteries. These are 2 umbilical arteries. Like pulmonary artery carries the impure blood. Similarly, umbilical arteries are also carrying the impure blood. The impure blood will come via 2 umbilical arteries to the placenta, and exchange takes place in the placenta. After exchange taking place from the placenta, umbilical vein, this is the red color, is the umbilical vein, will emerge from the placenta, and it will enter into the animal body through umbilicus. This is the umbilicus. After that, the blood will go towards the liver on the abdominal floor. Clear to you? Till now clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
the pure blood is coming via the umbilical vein, and umbilical vein enters into the fetus through umbilicus, going on the abdominal floor towards the liver. This is the liver. This is the liver. Now what will happen in the liver? Once the umbilical vein reaches the liver, it is single in nature. Remember, umbilical arteries, 2 in number, but umbilical vein is 1. In most of the animals. In some of the animals you will get 2 numbers, but in most of the animals you will get 1 number. Now this umbilical vein, when it will reach the liver, it will enter into the liver via the portal sinus. This is the portal sinus. This is the portal sinus. This is the portal sinus. It enters into the portal sinus and mix with the hepatic portal vein. This is hepatic portal vein. And after mixing with the hepatic portal vein, it will distribute to the different cells of the liver. Then through hepatic vein, it will enter into the posterior vena cava. Sorry, it will enter into the anterior vena cava. It will enter into the posterior vena cava. I'm sorry. It will enter into the posterior vena cava. Now what will happen? I just remind you again. The pure blood, the oxygenated blood is coming from the placenta via the umbilical vein and enters the fetus through umbilicus. Then this umbilical vein will go cranially in the abdominal floor towards the liver. At the liver, it will join with the hepatic portal vein. Hepatic portal vein already we have discussed, right? It is coming from stomach, intestine, spleen. Yesterday class we have discussed. It is joined with the hepatic portal vein through portal sinus. And the blood is distributed in the liver, different cells of the liver. Now via the hepatic vein, it will enter into the inferior vena cava or posterior vena cava. This is one way. But this is the normal way. But what is the another way? From the umbilical vein, the blood will directly pour into the posterior vena cava, bypassing the hepatic circulation. And this is called, this shortcut is called ductus venosus. Very important. This is ductus venosus. Now what is ductus venosus? It is a shortcut in the fetal circulation from which the umbilical vein carry the blood, oxygenated blood, and pour into the inferior vena cava or posterior vena cava. So here you see the first mixing of blood takes place. So mixing of blood here takes place. That means through hepatic vein you will get impure blood, through umbilical vein you will get pure blood, and in the posterior vena cava the pure blood and impure blood is mixed. And here also hepatic, yes. Join, no? Okay. Now here you see, oh sorry, here you see the umbilical vein, there will be two mixing of the pure blood and impure blood. First, the umbilical vein carries the pure blood that will mix with the impure blood carrying by the hepatic portal vein through portal sinus. So this is the first dilution of the blood takes place. Another dilution, umbilical vein carries the impure blood, and without the hepatic circulation it will directly pour into the posterior vena cava. That is the second dilution of the blood takes place through ductus venosus. So ductus venosus is the shortcut in the fetal circulation between the umbilical vein and the posterior vena cava, bypassing the hepatic circulation. Now from here, the mixture of the pure and impure blood will pour into the right atrium. From the right atrium, there is a hole. This is the interatrial septum. This is the interatrial septum. In the interatrial septum, there is a foramen in the fetus. That foramen is called foramen ovale. This is the foramen ovale. Now the impure blood or the mixing of blood from the posterior vena cava, it will pour into the right atrium. It should go to the right ventricle, but instead of going to the right ventricle, it is directly going to the left atrium via the foramen ovale. Now from the right atrium, the blood will go to from the left atrium, blood will go to the left ventricle, and from the left ventricle, the pulmonary, the aorta will arise. This is the aorta. This is the aorta. Aorta will arise, and from the aorta, it will supply to the ascending part of the, head, neck, forelimb, and thorax. It will supply there. And through descending aorta, this is the descending aorta. Through descending aorta, the blood will go to the different parts of the body. This is one way. Now, the impure blood from the ascending part of the body, or cranial part of the heart, that is from the head, neck, thorax, and right forelimb, and the forelimb, they will come by this anterior vena cava. This is anterior vena cava. It will pour into the right atrium. From the right atrium, it will go to the right ventricle. From the right ventricle, it will go to the pulmonary trunk, and this is the pulmonary trunk. This is the pulmonary trunk, and pulmonary trunk directly connect to the descending aorta. Actually, from the pulmonary trunk, it should go to the lungs. In the adult, from the pulmonary artery, the blood should go to the lungs, but in the fetus, directly it will pour into the posterior aorta, bypassing the hepatic circulation through one channel. That channel is known as ductus arteriosus. So ductus arteriosus is another shortcut. And from there, it will go via the umbilical arteries again back to the placenta. So this is the fetal circulation. In the fetal circulation, you will get shortcuts. Now, what are those shortcuts? Number one is the ductus venosus. This is one shortcut. Now, what is ductus venosus? So it is a shortcut channel in the fetal circulation between the umbilical vein and posterior vena cava, bypassing the hepatic circulation. Second shortcut is the foramen ovale. So foramen ovale is the shortcut in fetal circulation between the right atrium and the left atrium, bypassing the right ventricle. Third shortcut is the ductus arteriosus. So ductus arteriosus is the shortcut in the fetal circulation between the pulmonary artery and the posterior aorta, bypassing the pulmonary circulation. So you will get 3 shortcuts. Now, this is all about the fetal circulation. If you are having any doubt, you can ask me. Any doubt? Say yes or no. Hello?
No, sir.
Okay. Next. This is already I discussed. This is the part, written part. So what are the 3 shortcuts here? Ductus arteriosus, ductus venosus, foramen ovale, and ductus arteriosus are the 3 shortcuts. Remember. So what are the 3 shortcuts in the fetal circulation? You have to know ductus venosus, foramen ovale, and ductus arteriosus. Now, what is the difference? This is important. What is the difference between the fetal circulation and maternal circulation? Number 1, in maternal circulation, pulmonary component of circulation is functional. Pulmonary component means pulmonary artery carries blood to the lungs and exchange of gases takes place in the lungs. So pulmonary component is functional. But in case of fetal circulation, it is not so. That means pulmonary component is not functional. That is number 1 difference. Number 2, in adult, pure and impure blood are always separate. Pure blood you will be getting in the arteries. Impure blood you are going to get in the veins, except the pulmonary artery and pulmonary vein. But in case of fetal circulation, they are mostly mixed together. In most of the cases, the oxygenated and deoxygenated blood are mixed. So you may ask one question. So if the deoxygenated blood will be going to the cells of the fetus, how the metabolic activity of the cells takes place in the fetus? So actually in the fetus, the metabolic activity will not take place because metabolic activity occurs in the mother. The fetus is getting pre-digested food. So there is no requirement of metabolic activity of the cell. Metabolic activity performed, but not like adult animal. That is why it is indifferent if the mixing of blood takes place also, there will be no problem in the fetus. Number 3, the oxygenation in the adult happens in lungs, but in fetus oxygenation happens in the placenta. So that is another difference. Number 4, fetal circulation, 3 shortcuts are present, namely ductus venosus, already I told you, between the umbilical vein and posterior vena cava, bypassing the hepatic circulation. Number 1, foramen ovale, between the right and left atria, bypassing the right ventricle. Ductus arteriosus, between the pulmonary artery and the arc of aorta, bypassing the lungs. But in the adult, there is no shortcuts. Now number 5, in fetus, blood goes to the placenta by right and left umbilical arteries, originating from the right and left internal iliac artery. So internal iliac artery will give umbilical arteries, and these umbilical arteries carries impure blood, while the blood from the placenta returns to the fetus via the umbilical vein. That means umbilical vein carries the pure blood. So these are the 5 main differences between the fetal and maternal circulation. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Remember,
sir.
these are very important. Next, I told you the fetal component. Now, what are the fetal components? In the fetal circulation, you will get some components. The one component is the umbilical artery. You won't find in the adult. Another component is the umbilical vein. Another component is the ductus venosus. Another is the foramen ovale. Another is the ductus arteriosus. These are the 5 components that you are going to get in the fetal circulation, but you won't find in the adult individual. Now, after the birth of the fetus, what happens to these 5 structures? That we have to know. That means when the fetus will take birth, what these 5 structure will form, because it is not present in the adult. Now, first one is the umbilical artery. The umbilical artery will be converted to round ligament of the urinary bladder in the adult. Okay? After birth, we are having the round ligament of the urinary bladder. The round ligament of the urinary bladder is nothing but the original structure of umbilical artery. You see in this photograph. This is the urinary bladder. And these are 2 umbilical arteries. This is one and this is another. These 2 umbilical arteries. These 2 umbilical arteries, ultimately it will form the umbilical arteries means inside the artery there is a hole through which the blood can move. But that hole will be obliterated. Hole will be removed after birth. And it will become a ligament. Ligament, definition already I told you. Mesentery, ligament, mesocolon. Remember? Can you remember this definition? That is okay. So that the hole will be obliterated, hole will be removed, and it will become the round ligament of the urinary bladder. Sometimes it may come. What will happen to the umbilical artery after birth? Then you have to write round ligament of the urinary bladder. Now what will happen to the umbilical vein? Umbilical vein in the adult will be remain as ligamentum teres of liver. You see, this is the liver. And this is the gallbladder. This is gallbladder. This is gallbladder. Now this is the ligamentum teres. This is the ligamentum teres. This is the ligamentum teres. And it will be remain in the liver like this in the adult. That is actually the umbilical vein in the fetus time. But after birth, it will be remained as ligamentum teres of liver. Remember, okay? It may come in the exam. Now third is the ductus venosus. The ductus venosus will be replaced as fibrous ligamentum venosum in the wall of the liver. Here, this one, this structure. This structure is the fibrous ligament. This one is the ligamentum. This one is the ligamentum teres, and this one is the fibrous ligamentum venosum. Now foramen ovale. You see, this is the right atrium. This is the foramen ovale. You see, this is the foramen. This is the foramen. So in the adult, this foramen will closed and remain as a fossa. and in the adult you will get fossa ovalis. Now here you see in this photograph, this is the fetal heart. In the fetal heart, this is the right atrium, this is the left atrium. Have you seen one foramen here, this foramen? Have you seen? So this foramen is called foramen ovale. So after birth, this foramen will close and found as a fossa ovalis like this, this one. This one is the fossa ovalis. Have you seen?
Sir.
Okay. Now in some human being, the foramen should be closed. Foramen ovale should be closed, but it is not closed. And the kids, they are suffering from some problem, and they are known as blue babies. Have you heard this name, blue babies?
Yes, sir.
Blue babies is the symptom where the foramen ovale is not closed. It is a deformity. So somebody told in the village that this particular kid is having hole in the heart. They used to call like that. Have you heard or not this type of problem?
Yes, sir.
So this is nothing but the failure of closing of foramen ovale. Now the doctor has to perform one operation to close that foramen. Otherwise, what will happen? In the adult also, there will be mixing of pure blood and impure blood. So it cannot happen. It should not happen. So that foramen has to close. So it requires operation. One operation to close the foramen ovale. So if I will ask you what is the fate of foramen ovale in the adult, you have to write fossa ovalis. Next. Ductus arteriosus. So ductus arteriosus will be converted to ligamentum arteriosum. You see in this photograph. This is pulmonary trunk or pulmonary artery. This is aorta. Now, have you seen this connection? Have you seen this connection between the
Yes, sir.
pulmonary trunk and the aorta? Have you seen? This is the ductus arteriosus. Ductus arteriosus. Have you seen in the heart or not? You have seen the heart practically, is not it? You have seen heart practically in the class, in our practical classroom?
No, sir.
Or you have not seen?
sir.
You'll be able to see this ductus arteriosum. So ductus arteriosum is the adult position. In the young one, in the fetus, it will be called as ductus arteriosus, and in the adult it is called as ligamentum arteriosum. This is all about this class. Now I have to, don't go, I will show you another slide. Is it visible?
Yes, sir.
Abdomen nerves. So spinal nerves of the abdomen. So that one is finished. Abdomen, that artery, nerves and fetal circulation finished. Now we have to see what are the nerves present in the abdomen. Now, already I told you this thing, but again I want to tell something. Again I want to repeat this class. Now what is this? You see, this is the spinal cord. This is the spinal cord. Now this is the dorsal root. If you can remember, I already told you. This is the ventral root. This is the ventral root. So this is ventral root, this is dorsal root. So spinal, from the spinal cord, spinal nerve arises. Dorsally, dorsal root, ventrally, ventral root. Dorsal root is motor, sensory. Ventral root is motor. Dorsal root is forming the spinal ganglion. This is the spinal ganglion. And they will unite together to form the spinal nerve. And spinal nerve to dorsal spinal nerve, and this is the ventral spinal nerves. This is the ventral spinal nerve. The ventral spinal nerve is larger than the dorsal spinal nerve. And ventral spinal nerve is having the parasympathetic ganglion. Sorry, sympathetic ganglion. Here, this is the sympathetic ganglion. This is the how the spinal nerve is originated. Now, dorsal branch will supply. This is the dorsal branch. This is the dorsal branch. So, dorsal branch will supply to the dorsal area of the body, and ventral branch will supply to the ventral part of the abdomen. Along with that, it will supply to the limb. Now here I am showing in this photograph, you see. So these are the ventral branch. These are all ventral branch. So ventral spinal abdomen means this is T13. T13 means thoracic. This is L1 to L6. This is abdominal spinal nerve. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This 6 ventral spinal nerve. This is the ventral branch. And dorsal branch will supply here in this area. In this area, dorsal branch will supply. Now, ventral branch is very important. So first one, you see, this is the first ventral spinal nerve. The ventral branch of the first lumbar nerve is known as iliohypogastric. Remember, iliohypogastric means the first ventral spinal nerve, lumbar spinal nerve. That is called iliohypogastric. Name is different. You may call it as first lumbar spinal nerve, ventral lumbar spinal nerve, or iliohypogastric. It passes laterally between the quadratus lumborum and psoas major muscle and divide into lateral and medial branch. So this nerve will give lateral and medial branch. The lateral branch runs ventrally and caudally, ramifies under the skin of the caudal part of the flank. This is flank region is present here. This is the flank region. So you have to remember the first ventral lumbar spinal nerve is called iliohypogastric. Remember that. The second one is this one. The second lumbar spinal nerve is known as ilioinguinal nerve. So ilioinguinal also supply in this region, ventral. This is the abdomen, so ventral part of the abdomen region. The third one, this one, is known as genitofemoral nerve. Genitofemoral nerve. This genitofemoral nerve joins one part with the fourth lumbar nerve and going up to the superficial inguinal ring. This is the superficial inguinal ring, and it will supply to the ventral part of the ventral part of the abdomen, and it will also supply to the mammary gland. So what is my point to tell you? So first lumbar ventral branch of the spinal nerve is known as iliohypogastric. Second one is known as ilioinguinal. Third one is known as genitofemoral. Remember, all these three will supply to the ventral abdominal region. Now, this is all I told you about the first, second, and third. So first one is iliohypogastric, second one is ilioinguinal, third one is genitofemoral. Now, another 3 are there, 4, 5, 6. Now, what would happen to this 4, 5, 6? The fourth, fifth, and sixth ventral lumbar spinal nerve will form the lumbar plexus. Have you heard this name, lumbosacral plexus?
Yes, sir.
What is that? So this is a plexus which is formed by the ventral branches of the fourth, fifth, and sixth lumbar spinal nerve, and S1 and S2 sacral spinal nerve. Okay, that is a lumbosacral plexus. And these plexus will form different nerves that will supply to the hind limb. That will supply nerve to the hind limb. Brachial plexus will supply to the forelimb, lumbosacral plexus to the hind limb. Okay. Now here you see fourth, fifth, and sixth will form the lumbosacral plexus. First, second, and third will go to the ventral side of the abdomen. Here it will supply. So first one is iliohypogastric, second one is ilioinguinal, third one is genitofemoral. Fourth, fifth, and sixth will form the lumbosacral plexus. But to form the lumbosacral plexus, one part of the genitofemoral may go sometimes. Otherwise, fourth, fifth, and sixth ventral spinal nerve will form the lumbosacral plexus. Do you have any query? This is all about the spinal nerve. So, in the abdomen, how many lumbar spinal nerves you are going to get? 6. All are having dorsal branch and ventral branch. Dorsal branch will supply here. Dorsal branch will supply in this region. Ventral branch, first 3 will supply to the ventral abdominal wall. The 4, 5, 6 will form the brachial lumbosacral plexus, and it will go to the hind limb. The first lumbar spinal nerve is called iliohypogastric. Second one is known as ilioinguinal. Third one is known as genitofemoral. And they all will supply to the ventral, lateral, and ventral abdominal wall. 4, 5, 6 will form the lumbosacral plexus. Clear to you or not? I have to telling repeatedly.
Yes, sir.
A lumbosacral plexus already taught. I am not going to details of this lumbosacral plexus. Actually, lumbosacral plexus will be forming 2 plexus. One is called lumbar plexus, one is sacral plexus. Lumbar plexus will give 3 nerves. What are those nerves? So, obturator, cranial root. What are the nerves? Can you remember? Nerves from the lumbar plexus, 3 nerves are arises. What are those? Can you remember or not? Nobody is producing any sound.
No, sir.
You cannot remember. Okay, very good. Okay. So this is all about my class today. So next class, next week, we have to start the organ. So we have in the abdomen, we have completed bones, joints, muscles, arteries, veins, lymphatics, and nerves. Now, from next class onwards, we have to go to the organs of the abdominal cavity. What are the organs present? For example, esophagus, stomach, intestine, then organs, liver, kidneys, spleen, pancreas, gallbladder. So these are the organs we have to study. Okay?
Yes, sir.
So should I stop here today?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.